Welcome to the Athletes in Motion podcast, from race to recovery, with your hosts, Tom Riegel and Kenny Bailey.
Hey, Kenny. How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How you doing, Tom?
I'm fantastic myself.
We have Jay Williams with us today from RB Cyclery, owner of RB Cyclery. We're very excited about the topic today because we're going to be talking about gravel.
Yes.
It is, I think, one of the coolest new sort of trending things that are going on in cycling. I haven't seen this level of excitement across the board, from triathletes to road cyclists to mountain folks at all. Everybody. The cool kids are doing it right now.
Yeah.
And I want to be a cool kid. So before we get into that, though, Jay, you've got quite an illustrious background. You were product guy for Specialized. You rancher for USA Triathlon. Were you just like a BMX kid growing up? Were you always on a bike, or you just sort of fell into that?
I've always been on a bike, man. Thanks for letting me be here. Join talk with you guys. I got into cycling when I was a kid. I can remember leaving the Schwinn shop in tears because my parents would not purchase that black and gold BMX bike, and I had to wait for Santa to bring it to me.
Yep.
So yeah, bikes have been around for me for a long time. And when I got into high school, I was looking for a job. Got into cycling with some friends. My parents suggested that I go try working at the bike shop. So I did, started working at a bike shop around 16. So got some work experience and just kind of kept falling in love with bikes and fell in love with the bike shop, and haven't quit. Did
you like race BMX, or was that just
No, never
was
raced.
it an escape for you, or was it just like why a bike versus like I didn't get into football, or?
Yeah, I was a huge soccer player.
Uh-huh.
I played lots of soccer, lots of travel soccer. Soccer all the way up to the into high school. Was gonna go play in college, and then kind of got burnt out before I went to go play. So for me, yeah, it was a release. It was something fun to do. We'd usually get home from school, and the three of us, my two other siblings, and we'd kind of get shunned outside.
Yes.
To go ride bikes, to go play. So in the cove that we lived on, everybody rode bikes. Everybody would pile tires up and plywood.
Yep, absolutely. You need a good jump.
And see how far you could jump. And see if you could jump across the ditch. And see who could race down the driveway the fastest. So we did all that stuff as kids. So for sure, it was just a good afternoon after school release. And it started turning into racing, in high school.
Okay. So you were racing in high school?
Yeah, I was racing mountain bikes in high school.
Nice.
Racing road bikes kind of my senior year in high school.
Which one did you prefer more, road or mountain? Or are they just two different disciplines?
They're just two different disciplines.
2 wheels.
God, that's right.
It was good.
That's right. They're both a blast. I didn't care. I got into mountain biking first just because I had some. I can remember being like in high school and coming into Spanish class, and these. On Monday mornings, and these three buddies of mine would be telling me about their mountain bike adventure they had on Sunday, and I felt all super left out. So I went at 14 years old and bought a mountain bike from the local bike shop guy. Looking back, it was just a turd of a bike.
Yeah.
And then my mom would drop me off on Sundays with these other guys, and we'd go ride the Wolf River Trail System along the river.
Where's this at?
This is in Memphis.
Nice.
And we'd ride for, 4 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Of just goofing off and swinging into the river and getting lost and getting poison ivy. And, whatever. Just casually. I mean, casual is not the right word, but just, not racing each other. Just, it was an adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be lost in the woods. We're not really lost on the trail, but
yeah, you get it.
Feels like it. Kind of thing, and then that just morphed into gosh, my friends are now slow. I'm going a lot faster than them. What about racing these bikes?
Yeah.
then the mountain bike racing became like, well, I need some more fitness. I can't go to the trail all the time, but I can ride from home. So a lot of the guys at the bike shop were saying, well, you should do road riding to get fitness for mountain bike riding.
Got it.
And just keeps morphing.
Yeah.
And then you're on the group ride of road ride, and you realize a lot of these guys are triathletes, and that looks like fun
else.
too.
That looks like fun too.
That looks fun too.
Yeah.
So it just keeps morphing into something. Just like Tom said, another two wheels.
Yeah.
To ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know as a kid, I mean, I had to make sure that my checkered pads matched my Vans on my BMX bike. And, I mean, it was a big deal, right? Like new handlebar. Mushroom grips were like a deal, right? I was so excited to get mushroom grips on my BMX bike. And then same thing, you go out and you just jump anything to jump it, right? Can you get over that? I don't know.
That's right.
You go first, and then
I don't know about you guys. I was a big GT guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my bike of choice.
Yeah.
And that had to be every.
As a red line guy, sorry.
That's right.
Yeah, it's all right.
You had you had to have all that stuff. You had to have grip donuts.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right. You had to have like the Velcro hub polishers.
Yep.
You had to have all these little,
Nice.
silly things.
It was crazy. So how'd you go from that to go into the corporate man at Specialized? What?
Man, that was just so. I was in Texas. I had graduated. I opened there was a guy in Texas that wanted to open that had a bunch of running stores. He put on a bunch of triathlons there, and he wanted to open a triathlon store, but he didn't know the bike part. I had met him from some races and some other stuff, and so I moved to San Antonio, and then opened a triathlon store for him, the bike portion, and then ran that store for him. And then I wanted to purchase the store from him. He didn't want to sell. I wanted to change some things around, and just do some things different. And we couldn't come to agreements on that. And so I said, it's just time for a change. And I'd been working in bike shops for 20 years at the time. So I wanted something different. I want to do something different. So I wanted to try something inside the industry instead of kind of on the outside. So I just kind of, what I did was I did something a little different where I said, I want to move out west. And so I just pulled up the industry directory and said, what are all the bike companies
that are
on
out
the
west,
West Coast?
Yeah, they're
Specialized.
So there's
in a nice location.
You're right. There's Specialized, there's Marin, there's Shimano, there's Felt, there's Profile Design. There's a million West Coast bike shops, bike companies, and so I just started interviewing with a handful of them, and that one stuck. So
what were you doing for Specialized?
So I was a product manager for road and triathlon.
Okay.
PM's job is to kind of figure out what the market is kind of in demand for. Like it's like you guys are talking about gravel. So what does the gravel consumer want?
Yeah.
What different types of gravel bikes should there be? What spec should be on there? Should all the what price points should there be?
Yeah.
What bike should have 1x? What bike should have 2x? What bike should have suspension? What bike shouldn't? And so that's kind of the PM's job.
Yeah.
So they don't really do any designing. They don't really do any engineering. That's kind of another group.
So you're gathering data, basically.
You're gathering data of what the bike should be, and then once you've got that idea, you're kind of giving the engineering staff and the design staff some ideas. They come back and say, here's the design. And the way it worked at Specialized was you kind of had some of the design team create a design that was kind of outlandish and pretty out there.
Yeah.
And then the engineers would pull that back. They would take that concept and create a true engineering piece. They'd test all that and make it work. And then that would get sent, and then that design would get sent to now like the art department, and the art department would create graphic and color and whatnot. And then the product manager job becomes, okay, I need to source these parts. I need to figure out what parts are going to go on each bike. So what is it, 75 to 100 parts on each bike.
Yeah.
Times, how many ever bikes you got. It's a lot of parts to source.
Yeah.
Well, I think to your point, because I've been a product guy for most of my career, and it's that marriage between sort of what engineering can do, what the market wants, what the price point you have to hit, because you can build a great bike,
That's right.
but if it's $14,000, you're going to have exactly 1% of the population that's
right.
going to be able to afford it. Where,
Yeah.
how do I build a really high quality bike, put the best parts I can on it for the best margin?
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's and then how do I roadmap that out where you waterfall,
That's right.
that kind of stuff.
And that was my favorite part of the job, was getting to go talk to dealers. And the hard part was you were the face of Specialized, so you got a lot of venting of what they didn't like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got what they did like.
You know what you ought to do. You get that a lot, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But that was kind of fun to kind of
Yeah.
so you get to see a lot of bike shops. You get to talk to a lot of dealers.
Yeah.
You get to talk to a lot of owners. You get to hear a lot of the stuff that didn't make sense.
Yeah.
The fun part for me was creating these ideas, traveling to the places where the bikes are made, sourcing those parts, finding the parts.
So as a bike shop owner now, how does that compare? Is sort of like now it's your, it's your baby, right? At that point.
I don't bitch about the bikes as much. I know how hard it is.
You have
to
a
make.
better understanding of what's coming down the pike. And
That's right.
Why?
Well, and from a sourcing standpoint, I mean, I know I just heard horror stories like Cervelo decides to change their, the way their purchase process, right? So now you, as a bike shop owner, you have to have a certain amount or a certain, take on certain inventory and all that sort of stuff. So it's never a fun thing, I think, as a bike shop owner, at least of what I understand. And correct me if I'm wrong, but
No, it's
folks
right.
walking in are like, well, why don't you have this? It's like, well, it's.
It's right. You kind of have to be a product manager for the product that's in your store. You have to crystal ball and guess what consumer is going to walk in your door. I think a lot of people don't realize that we have to purchase all of that inventory.
Yeah.
So everything's sitting in the bike shop. The bike shop owns. The bike shop owner paid for it.
Yeah.
And he's crossing his fingers
Yeah.
that the right person's going to walk in the door.
Yeah.
That's that same size, that wants that color, that wants that price point to take it away.
Yeah.
So you're right. That's one of the harder parts of being a bike shop owner is purchasing the correct product, because we don't get to send it back.
Yeah.
All we get to do is discount it.
Call it a day.
Try to get rid of it.
Yeah.
But
So let's talk gravel. This
Yeah.
is what we're
Yeah.
here for. I'm pretty excited about this.
Yeah.
So, when did you see so for the folks that don't know, give us what would be your definition of what gravel, a gravel experience is versus like a mountain or a road experience?
yeah, so I think it's closer to road riding because you're on a true road, where mountain biking you tend to be on a 1 foot wide trail. You're riding a bike that more closely resembles in a silhouette a road bike. And I think your distances also kind of tend to be more road style distances than mountain biking does. There's no real jumping in gravel riding. There's no real log obstacles. There's no real huge rock obstacles. For the most part, we're talking gravel roads that you're riding kind of out in the country. Is kind of the idea. So I think the hard part becomes just like when people walk in the store and they say, I'm looking for a bike that I can take on the trail. You have to figure out what the definition of trail is.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what
right.
do you-
When you're saying trail, are you saying rooty, rocky hiking trail, or are
Yeah.
you saying paved trail? What do you mean? Same thing with gravel, I think, these days. Gravel could mean super groomed dirt road, right? That's just super smooth with just tiny sandy crushed kind of dirt. It can mean something kind of chunky stone, pretty heavy gravel road, where the gravel's, maybe half the size of your fist. And then kind of, roads in between. And then harder stuff like coming across a water crossing where the water from the creek, because they're not going to put a bridge has washed out the whole road, and you're crossing river rock. So yeah, all between.
So then, yeah, it becomes a little cyclocross where you have to jump off and
That's right.
climb
Comes
through
hike a
some
bike.
stuff and hike a bike and hop
Yeah.
back on and go again. So what changes on the bikes? I mean, so in the geometry setups of the bikes, what makes it? If I just put wider tires on my road bike, is that going to work, or am I going to need? Why specifically to buy another bike? I mean, I really don't need an excuse, but it's always N+1 for me. So it's like, what is going to drive people to go, okay, this is what you should look for in a gravel bike? What's the geometry? What are the changes that makes it flow on the gravel surface?
Well, what I think is interesting is to me, this is just almost like the rebirth of cyclocross.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not, but it is. Cause I remember when, we would sell a cyclocross bike to people who couldn't decide, and what I mean by they couldn't decide is they can't decide if they want to ride the road. They can't decide if they kind of want to ride dirt roads. They can't decide if they want to ride through a grassy field. They want to commute on it. They may want to go on a 2-day bikepacking trip. And it was always like, here's your jack of all trades. It's the cyclocross bike.
Yeah.
Right. And then the cyclocross bike kind of took this divergence where it became extremely racy,
And that's the one I bought.
Of course.
right.
Slammed front end. Right.
Yeah. Where it just became a really specific bike to cyclocross racing.
Yeah.
And then that kind of jack of all trades bike kind of got lost for a couple of years there. I think in the last bit, and then these crazy guys out in Kansas decided to start doing this big gravel race out there, and I think that's kind of the birth of where all this gravel stuff kind of came from. But in that place is kind of a unique area where you'll have like paved road at the edge of town, and then just literally the town just turns into gravel road right after.
Yeah.
We don't really have that here. We have lots of paved road, but we got to go pretty far for gravel. But that's kind of what created it. And then all of a sudden, the manufacturer started seeing this race kind of take place, and people getting interested in getting away from cars and getting on a gravel road. Yeah. And so, sorry, Tom, I'm coming a long way around to answer your question.
No, it's all good.
But they saw like people are using these not to race with, but they're doing
Adventure, right? Just to see things.
Right? Yeah, they're doing to
see
see things. They're going for endurance. They're going for long periods of time. So these days, the gravel bike, the difference between like a road bike and a gravel bike is, one, the gravel bike kind of has a longer wheelbase to kind of give it some more stability when you're out there, to give it some more comfort, to soak up more bumps. The tires are getting wider and wider and wider.
Yeah.
And that's just everywhere. The whole industry, the whole trend is that, I mean, road bikes now are getting sold with 28
crazy.
28
Yeah.
to 32, which never happened before.
Yeah.
Tri-bikes are coming with huge wide rims and 25 tires when they blow out to 28. Casual hybrid style bikes are now going all the way into 38 and 40. They're just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So a lot of gravel bikes we're seeing now are starting at a minimum of 40 millimeters of width.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right, which won't fit in your road bike.
No.
The front end, the handlebars on the gravel bikes tend to be higher. You're sitting more upright. There's a lot more mounting spots for fenders, mounting for racks, mounting for bags, mounting for all kinds of stuff to take things with you on these adventures that you're going to do.
Yeah, I think to me, it was an interesting sort of evolution, right? Because I think you're right. The cyclocross was like, this is really cool. I think it was the Northwest you guys did cyclocross, right? Because again, it was born out of necessity.
Out of
it was
Belgium.
sloppy.
Yeah.
There's a tree in my way. I need to jump over it. That kind of thing, right? And then suddenly it got to a fine point where you're doing world cyclocross racing, and these guys are ridiculous, and the pro road guys are now competing and killing everybody in it, and all that sort of stuff, right? When Peter Sagan shows up, you're dead. So, or Wout Van Aert decides I'm going to do cyclocross. Yeah. Thanks, Wout. Everyone's fighting for second. So it seems that the gravel, back to your point, we were missing sort of technical. I don't want to go do single track and try to figure out how to do a hardcore mountain ride, right? and there seems to be this rise in just anger amongst cars, and it's been there, but it's getting a lot worse these days, right? You just see more and more accidents. You see more things happening. People don't want to ride on the road, and they miss those nostalgic days of like, I just want to be able to go ride, but I don't need to kill myself on a single track, and I don't want to get hit by a car on the road, because that's becoming more dangerous. So it seemed like it hit this beautiful sweet spot. Is that where you can still go do something really cool? You get a nice adventure. It's not too technical. It's more upright. It fits. It's not, is that kind of how this thing really exploded? Because it's fascinating how gravel is becoming sort of, everybody likes it. Triathletes love it. Roadies love it. Mountain people love it. Casual people love it. Why do you think it hit that? Is it because it just hits on that sort of sweet spot? Or why is it such a phenomenal sort of rise at this point?
I think you're right. I want to get back to the car thing, because I want there's something cool going on in the car world too that I want to talk about. But yes, I think the car thing was a huge driver in doing
Pardon
that.
the pun.
But yeah, people don't feel safe around cars. When they have no protection. Myself included, most every road cyclist, and so this was a way to get away from cars. Where we ride, you're getting closer to dogs, so
that's a real problem.
The trade-off, I don't know if the trade-off is any better.
I don't know which one's worse,
right? So I was talking to this guy in the shop yesterday, and I was like, how was your ride, in Hickman yesterday? And he's like, oh, I got chased by 7 dogs. I was like,
so now you count the dogs, not the cars.
Yeah, so he calls them like dog intervals. Is what he calls them. So that's pretty good. But I think that's what it was. I think there's been a little bit of need for that in the lower price point of the industry, like where when somebody comes in and they're wanting to get into road cycling, and but their budget is $800 to $1,500. They're still in that I don't know phase. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that gravel bike is a perfect bike for that I don't know, because it can do everything, right? Because you can go road ride on it. You can go gravel ride on it. You can take it as a commuter bike. You can just ride with your kids in the neighborhood with it. It kind of does everything kind of idea. And then if you really get into road cycling and you're like, wow, I really like road cycling and I like going fast and I like going far, then your next bike at $3,000 can be a road bike.
Yeah.
So I think that's also what's happening is it seems like they're starting to get away from entry-level road bikes, and we're starting to go towards gravel for entry bikes.
Because of the diversity on those.
Because the diversity, because you can do whatever you want. So that's part of what's creating that. And then I think just like just something new. It's just new.
Yeah.
That newness is creating buzz, kind of idea. Just that's it's something different.
I think the pandemic might have helped a little bit with that, with people trying to socially distance but get out and do some stuff. So that instead they're going further. They're going out. They want to be outdoors.
Yeah, they got more time.
They've got a little more time. And I think the newness of the riders with less experience, less handling skills on the bike and cars comes back to that. It just freaks them out because they're so not used to it. I don't like it, but I'm so used to cars buzzing by or throwing things or sticking a hand out because of all the riding I did out in LA for years. And it just, nothing phases me anymore. I still hate it, still not happy with it, but nothing spooks me into the point where it's just kind of like, well, they just buzzed right by you. And I just put my hand out and just moved over a little bit and just touched the car just because I knew I could do that. Yeah. And it's like, I'm getting less of that out here, which is kind of nice. But I'm further and further out on the roads. But I think that nearness and the lack of experience of handling your bike and knowing what your bike can do and how you can maneuver is huge. So I'd want to get out on a nice fire road and just get out there and just kind of cruise it. But then you need to have the panniers. You need to have a little extra stuff because you can't hit the gas station when you run out of fuel. You're out of water. You got to think about a little bit longer trip that way. Yeah,
and I think we're all just if we ask the three of us, would you rather be inside or outside? Well, we're all going to say outside. Yeah. And then if you ask us, well, would you rather be in the city or kind of like in the woods?
In the woods.
We're all going to say in the woods. Yep. So I think that's just a lot of cyclists in general.
Yeah.
Road cyclists too. I mean, would you rather be riding your road bike in the city or out in the country?
Yeah.
Out in the country.
Yeah.
So I think that's just part of that gravel thing. It's just most gravel cyclists, most people that are riding bikes want to be away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And gravel is just a way to get away.
So so I think RB's starting to do gravel.
Yeah, we do a ride every month.
Okay.
Once a month right now. We're going. We meet at the Gordon House on the Trace, and then we ride about 2 miles of pavement, and then we're doing the rest of the loop on gravel, and we got it's a 24-mile loop and like a 38-mile loop that we're doing out there.
So when you put together rides like that, especially because gravel, so if somebody comes in and they're listening to this podcast, they're like, I've been intrigued with gravel. The takeaway is, well, it's a versatile bike, it's a stable bike, it's a little bit more casual on the rake, so you're not slamming the front end and looking over the handlebars. One of the things that I guess I'm naive to, I did my first gravel ride up in Tahoe, and if Tim's listening, I'm going to kill him. It was like 3,000 feet of climbing, and at one of the climbs, it was 1,500 feet, and it was basically single track. And I thought we were going to do this nice fire road gravel bike adventure, and it ended up being, the side of a mountain. I was going to kill him. So what should people expect when they go to rides like this? If you're relatively new to it, or if you're kind of coming over from like a triathlon, or if you're coming over from or you want to get out there, who do you want showing up and who do you not want showing up, I guess would be, or what would be?
I think you want Boy Scouts, be prepared.
Okay.
But I think you're right. It's a new adventure every time. Mm-hmm. You don't know what to expect because so much of the roads, the road is constantly changing because it's gravel, right? So a big storm is creating, water runoff. It's creating these, 6-inch, 12-inch ditches within the road that you can kind of go off into like a rut. It's the water crossing that you came to last month is now raging and 2 feet deep instead of 2 inches deep. Your feet are now soaking wet. So maybe hopefully you brought some dry socks. To change into.
I guess how proficient of a rider do I need to be? I guess would be the question, right? If I'm a beginner,
you can be a noob, totally.
Okay.
The newer you are, the bigger tire you want. So maybe if you're a newbie, you bring a mountain bike.
Okay.
Okay.
You don't have to have a gravel specific bike.
Yeah.
You can do it on skinny tire. You can get away with a 33 or a 38, but you got to go slower. Or you got to be a proficient bike handler, kind of thing, kind of idea. But yeah, it's very different than a triathlon road ride. It's very different than a group road ride.
Yeah.
It's
what
it's
equipment wise for like shoes and
mountain bike shoe tends to work better because you got a lot of hike a bike. You got a lot of walking through creeks. On our side. Here. So that kind of stuff.
Pedal wise, the same way you'd kind of lean more towards
SPD mountain bike style pedal.
Yeah, something that's not going to collect any dirt and stuff like that.
Right.
What about this? Now they're making the specific gravel bike shoes. Is that is it really?
I think they're taking advantage of it.
Okay, that's kind of what I was leading to. It's like really, it looks like a mountain bike shoe with a carbon plate in it. Is it really?
No.
Yeah,
I think they're bamboozling us.
Yeah.
Well, there's always going to be that, right? If you got to slap I think cyclocross did the same thing, right? You got cyclocross specific gear, and all of a sudden it's like,
I think that's all it is. No, you can get away with a lot of crossover gear, make it worse. But no, road shoes I don't recommend. Brand new person, tennis shoe, platform pedal, standard old tennis shoe pedal. Totally fine.
Just kind of have fun, right? And just kind of.
Yeah, our rides are pretty casual that we do. I think most gravel rides you're going to do are not. The people you're going to meet are also not serious. They're laid back kind of people. They're out for the adventure, not for the
There's not an
Not
A
for the
group
race.
and a B group and a
There's
C.
not an A group.
Yeah.
There's not a B
Yeah.
group. There's not a C
Yeah,
groups.
yeah.
It's way more mellow. You know, it's a lot of like-minded people.
Yeah, I remember going from like road racing, and I did my first cyclocross race, and I showed up, and road racing is like, I'm gonna eat your lunch, I'm gonna, tear your head off, I'm gonna, use your skull as a drink when I get done beating you at the line, right? You're all just, trying to kill each other, and the sprint finish is gonna be, epic, and that whole thing. And I show up to a cyclocross race, and I didn't even think about it, and I'm just like, oh yeah, and some dude's like, dude, calm down. Like, there's dogs running, there's families, and kids are there, and they're just having a good time.
Right.
And that's what's, I think, kind of the fun about road feels intense, right? Triathlons tend to be intense.
Yeah.
They're
Right?
getting that way. I think they were much more welcoming in the beginning, and
Yeah.
the grassroots races are still pretty welcoming, and
Yeah.
that's what drew us to the sport. So.
Yeah, but so now that it seems like people are more casual when it comes to gravel, right? You're not trying to do like this gnarly single track. You're having a good time, and if you just bring in a fun attitude and an adventurous attitude, it's gonna be great, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny. You're talking about like I remember coming from a road background into triathlon 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was the same way. And I remember like passing somebody on the road bike, and the guy's like, "Good job," and I was like,
What? Yeah. Exactly. Like, what? Good job.
Yeah.
oh,
No.
okay.
You're cheering me on?
What? Hey,
How
Grace,
does that
thanks for
work?
present.
Right. And I think it's that way in gravel.
I just lost a
Yeah.
T-shirt.
It's the
Yeah.
same kind of way. It has that first grassroots feel, and you know, in a gravel
super
race,
supportive.
Super, yeah.
It's like
yeah,
we're all
yeah,
getting
yeah.
through this together.
That's
That's why
right.
getting
That-
into
that's
even
exactly
the longer
right.
distances, stuff like that. Everybody's the same way.
That's
It's
right.
just like they just want to see you get to the finish. They want you
That's-
to enjoy it.
That's right.
as much as they
you
are.
know, crossing the creek crossing. Give me your hand. I'll help you
I'll
cross.
help you cross. And,
Yeah, one of our last podcast guests was a guy named Ian Murray. He runs the LA Tri Club, and one of the things he was super excited about was gravel triathlons. Have you seen that rise happening here?
I haven't. We're one of the guys at the shop and me are talking about trying to start it. So
Cool.
So we're trying to. The hard part is scouting locations.
Yeah.
Because you got to find that perfect location. You got to find something that's where you got a lake or a river you can swim in that's next to gravel, that you can run, that you can also park cars.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're scouting some locations, trying to find some stuff. We know there's some stuff up in Michigan too that's been going on for a couple of years. But yeah, it sounds really cool.
There's Dan Emfield of Slow Twitch fame and Katana Roo fame was talking about this about 2 years ago. There was the Triathlon Business International group that used to be in existence, and we'd get together and talk about all the business. And he was talking about creating triathlon based on the terrain. Like, so the distances don't matter. It's finding the best terrain. And then, if it's a short swim, it's short. If it's a long swim, it's long swim, whatever. And then using mountain bikes, you're using, at that point, gravel was sort of starting to come out, but it was basically off-road.
Right.
And starting to do this. And he's always such in touch with the industry. I was always impressed with him and enjoyed speaking with him as he extends stuff out, starts looking down the road. It's like, why aren't we doing more of this? Why aren't we kind of going this way?
He's a good futurist.
Yes, totally. And looking at the Gravel Tri Series, USAT jumped on that pretty quickly, which is kind of going moving along. And I think it's
cool.
Awesome. It gets us off the roads. Again, it gets us off the roads. It gets us outside without having. I mean, you can even do it on a mountain bike. It's perfectly fine. Just finding those roads.
So forgive my ignorance on this one. So it's going to be sort of a gravel, obviously, a gravel. So you do the swim, get on a gravel. Is it also a trail run then at that point, or is it, or you're?
I think it's like Tom's saying. It's like whatever's available.
Whatever's there. Yeah, figure it
whatever.
out. If it's trail, it's trail. If
If it's a mixture, it's a hybrid of both.
you might run on both the road and the trail. You might ride on both the road and the trail.
Yeah.
I mean, it just makes it.
Or it's a run on a gravel road.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I think there's a future for it.
Is there a?
Yeah.
So one of the dangers, and I've read this, and I don't know if it's happening, but one of the dangers of what happened to cyclocross, right, is it started out cyclocross was supposed to be just more adventurous, and then it got honed into races, and there seems to be, again, gravel is starting to get a lot more formal. People wanting to do gravel races. Do you see there's a danger that gravel goes to the same way that cyclocross went, where it's getting more and more competitive because anything that you start that's cool and fun, you got two people that are always going to be like, a half a wheel in front of somebody, and all of a sudden a race occurs.
Well, I was gonna say that's the joke, right? I mean,
Yeah.
when the second bike was built, that was the day of the first race.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think there's danger in it.
Okay.
That's just like saying like, I mean, on the mountain bike side, I mean, there's World Cup racing, but man, most people just get on their mountain bike to go ride in the woods and have fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that racing component's always there. I don't think it's going to ruin it.
Okay.
I think the hard thing about cyclocross was it's so specific, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. I didn't know if gravel was going to.
I think gravel, like mountain biking, is broad enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
To where I think people are going to just do it for enjoyment, and who cares about racing? And the cool thing about racing, I think, is that racing kind of pushes your limits a little bit, beyond what you'd normally do. It shows you people who, when you thought you were really fit, it humbles you to be like, wow, maybe inspires you to get fitness like that. A lot of these guys are talking about some of these gravel series that are going on here, is that it's showing them new roads. It's showing them new places to ride.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that race course showed me these other roads that I didn't even know about. So kind of showing you some other places, kind of thing. So I don't think I definitely get there's some negatives to racing, but there's definitely some positives.
Yeah, I think I'm nervous about the cyclocross sort of track it took, right?
Yeah.
Because cyclocross was very specific. Even people that were in cycling,
Right.
It's like, well, what's cyclocross? It's like, oh, well, you jump off your bike, you hop over
Yeah.
thing, you go real fast, and it's 0 to 180 beats per minute.
Right, and they're still looking at you like,
go.
huh?
Yeah.
Right. So it was but it was also an incredibly it was a sprint, right?
Yeah, right.
So I think that was part of the thing, but it's got so specific to your point that I just wasn't
Yeah, the
sure
bikes-
if
the bikes
gravel,
did.
if that starts getting there,
And
or
it is
seems wide enough.
It is. It's already the industry's. The bike industry has. Man, I don't know if it's good or it's bad, but man, they will take a category and they will slice it into as many slices as they can get.
Yeah.
Like you think about like my, for an example of like a road, where road became like, okay, you have a lightweight climbing road bike.
Yep.
You have an aero road bike.
Yep.
You have an
Check.
endurance road bike.
Check.
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera.
Tri-bike.
And gravel is starting to get the same kind of way, where now you have a gravel one by style bike.
Mm-hmm.
Now you
Which
have
is what?
Which is one gear in the front, and a big large range in the rear.
How is that? Is it?
And then you have like a 2x style,
Uh-huh.
where you have two gears in the front, right, which is more traditional road, and the 1x is more kind of mountain.
Yeah.
And then you're getting gravel bikes that have suspension.
Yeah.
And then you're
Oh, no kidding.
Right.
Yeah, the suspension ones. I had one in
Back in my day, we used to soak that up with our butt, and we were happy.
Hardtail.
That's right.
All the way.
That's right. I mean, Cannondale's got full suspension gravel bikes now.
Do they have e-gravel bikes yet, or is that?
They have e-gravel bikes.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Right. So
e-gravel
they have gravel bikes with 650 tire size.
Yeah.
They have gravel bike with 700 size.
Yeah.
So they've already split the category into
they
5 or
sliced and
6
diced it, yeah.
different.
Well, I think
bikes.
any genre, but if you don't have an e version of whatever you're making, like
At
e,
this point.
at this point, I haven't seen an e tri bike yet. That would be sacrilege. But I mean, God, imagine the sport blowing up with an e tri bike. How pissed would you be? You're just going at it, and some dude's next to you, 23 miles an hour, going, "Hey,
Hi.
how you feeling?" I'm like, "I feel I want to kill you. I will hunt that person down like a dog."
Yeah. I don't see.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go on a tangent there, but
Yeah.
no e tri bikes.
Tri-bikes are only for racing. I mean, really, no one gets a tri-bike for fun,
Fun, yeah,
right?
that's
It's just
true. You
like,
don't
oh,
get in
let's
that
go our
position.
casual Sunday ride.
On a tri-bike.
Tri-bikes only. All right, yeah. So that one I think might be a protected
Protected
class.
class.
Everything else is wide open. I think the thing is going to be interesting is the speeds that they're going to allow these bikes to go, and then of course everyone's going to break out their wrenches and they're going to figure out a way to make it go faster because that's just what we do, right?
Yeah, and I don't think they're breaking their wrench out. They're breaking their laptop.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna
Yeah,
be a software
they're
hack.
hacking
Exactly,
the software. Yeah, yeah.
So there's going to be like a black market for
Yeah.
tuning your bike,
Yeah,
right?
exactly, right? Yeah.
Bike tuners. Wow, that's a whole
bike
market for
tuner.
you guys. You
That's
think
a whole
about that.
thing.
I know. I wanted to get you guys are talking about technology, so I'll swing this in here. You guys are talking about like cars.
Yep.
Fearful. I mean, I think in maybe maybe 20. Maybe 20 is too early. Maybe 40 more years. Road riding is going to get a rebirth.
Really?
Yeah, and the reason is because of technology. And I think either the new self-driving cars of the future will be able to see the bike, or there's already talk about this. There's a bunch of political debate that I won't get into at all. I'll just talk about the technology, where the rider can have some kind of beacon on them, and then the car knows, hey, there's a cyclist. There's a cyclist in the road.
Okay.
I see them through the beacon.
Yeah.
Right. And to where cyclists aren't getting hit anymore, because these new technology cars with cameras and whatever can see, won't let the car go into the person. I think the hard part of the technology is getting to understand, when the cyclist makes a stupid mistake and they're on the far right side of the lane and they're kind of not looking over their left shoulder very good, and they just decide to go left. But for the most part, everybody's going straight. No more getting hit on the right side.
You just need to have a white diesel pickup with that technology. That seems to be white diesel pickup.
That's
I don't know what the color.
Like I said, maybe 40 years.
Exactly. When the white diesel pickup
it'll trickle
can avoid
down.
me, that'll be it.
It'll trickle. But I think we'll have a road riding rebirth, and
I think having the beacon on the rider helps solve the issue of the cameras not seeing it.
Yeah. Right.
Because that's been the issue that they've tried now.
Yeah,
that
like
they've
sun
run
or
into. Something is not allowing it to see whatever background is there.
Yeah.
Having a beacon that sends the signal back, I think, would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think Garmin's doing a really good job on trying to figure out how to have, you put on the back of your seat, it
sonar.
Sonar. They're trying to really figure out how to make the cyclist. It's got to be two sides of the fence, right? Cyclists can do everything they can under the sun. It's still the driver that has to realize that you've got a multi-thousand-pound, device that could cause real damage. And I think some people don't just realize that,
right?
Just nicking somebody on a bike is, that's a hospital trip minimum, right?
Yeah. But man, hopefully technology will solve the problem. Or make the problem better.
So back to the gravel thing regarding sort of one of the things that's preventing me from doing it, other than my wife won't let me buy a new bike. I love you. Is I want it. And the same thing, sort of like trail runs, right? Is there a place, a website? Should we go to you guys? Like, I want to get a gravel bike. I want to go out and explore. I just don't know where. On a road, I know where, I know roads, right? It's outside. Is level of danger on which road, but for gravel, how do I figure out where to be?
So there's a bunch of bunch of cool information out there. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube. You can search gravel stuff in your area, and a lot of people publish some rides and stuff on YouTube to start. There's a bunch of there's a good number of websites with gravel, adventure cyclist and some other stuff. There's a cool website out there called Gravel Map, and you can go on Gravel Map, and it kind of uses like a simple Google base map, and then people have highlighted the roads that they've ridden that are gravel. They've taken pictures of the road, so you can kind of get an idea if this is chunky gravel or groomed, or what the water crossing's like around there. And adventure motorcyclists are kind of using that map also, because they like to ride on the same kind of stuff on, like in a KTM adventure style bike. So they use that map as well. That's out there. Man, even like even Strava and, Map My Ride and Ride with GPS, those kind of simple things. Those websites also have kind of where to ride gravel, where guys are doing gravel rides and that kind of stuff.
So when you have a new person that's wanting to get back into, I was a kid, I used to ride bike when I was a kid or in college, and it sounds like now the number one thing you're looking to do is get those person on a gravel, that seems to be like the new, like you said, the new entry to be able to do that, right? Give them a road, kind of a map to be able to say, hey, here's where to go, and good luck. Are you seeing a lot of positive feedback on that?
Yeah.
How's the reception been, I guess?
Reception's been good. These guys really like the ability to do a lot of things, as their first bike. Because I think that's the scare. They come into the bike shop, they're going to spend $1,000 and they're pigeonholed into something.
Yeah.
Where that gravel bike could race a triathlon,
Yeah.
You know, albeit you're not going fast, but it'd be fun. You know, you can road ride with some other buddies by changing the tires down to 28.
Yeah.
You can put 40 tires on and go ride gravel. So yeah, lots of choice.
Have you seen a lot more sales on your side when you look at like the pie chart of what you guys?
It's growing. It was really slow for us, and I think our area is a little different. You know, and I think all that has to do with how close is the gravel to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so in these shops where the gravel starts really close, right outside of town, I think they do a lot better with gravel bikes. For us, it's nearly an hour drive to where gravel starts. That's just our county is wealthy and likes to pave
with no bike lanes.
With no bike lanes.
Yes.
But we have really nice road riding here. You know, Leapers Fork, some of the best road riding in the country. And you got it, but you know, gosh, it's 30-minute drive to there, you know, and then it's another 30 minutes to the next county, you know, and that next county for us is about 90% unpaved.
Wow.
So it just depends on where you're at. But yes, it's growing for us. It's steadily growing. And I think the reason it's growing is the bike. The reason the bike category is growing is because it's a do-all, jack of all trades kind of bike. Where for your first bike, you're not stuck.
Yeah, you can commute on it. You can bounce on anything and just kind of back and forth.
And if you want to spend a lot of money on it because you're crazy and
you have it,
there's a headroom for that.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
So,
Yeah. $10,000 bikes all day.
Really? You can get a $10,000 gravel bike?
Sure.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, if you can spend the money, they can build one.
They can
for
build
you.
one for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
You
sure.
like those people.
Yeah.
They don't come in enough.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
So how do we grow the sport? How do we get the kids involved? What do we do? Because you're involved in getting kids on mountain bikes, right? So tell us about what is the organization that you're?
Yeah, so the organization that my wife started here, it's NICA, National Interscholastic Cycling Association, which was started out of Northern California, is where they started it, kind of in the Berkeley area, and there was just a school teacher that wanted to have wishes that he could race bikes when in high school when he was in high school. So he kind of started getting it going, and it's just grown from California out to many other states. So my wife kind of started the Tennessee chapter.
Nice.
Here about 8-9 years ago. So we put on 5 races in the fall. We have about 600 students that race. So we've got some big mountain bike races. Our JV field is 100 boys. Our JV boys is 100 boys, kind of starting on the line together.
Nice.
So it's kind of fun. They kind of find it naturally.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because their coaches tend to be cycling enthusiasts. That are helping to coach. So they kind of tend to help them. We did a gravel ride. I want to say 3 months ago, and we had some NICA students come out and ride mountain bikes out on the gravel roads.
Okay.
So they're finding it. They're kind of naturally coming into it.
That's cool.
Which is cool. So
yeah, we'll make sure to put a link here on there as well.
Yeah,
So
we'll do that. Definitely.
Yeah.
I think anything we can do to keep growing the sport, growing it, whether it's triathlon or road riding or whatever, getting kids active. I know as a kid, I used it as transportation. That was my thing. My yellow Sears 10-speed, steel.
Absolutely.
Like I wasn't allowed to do BMX. My parents wouldn't let me do skateboarding or BMX. That was not going to happen. So I jumped things on a road bike. I went over the handlebars on that thing more times than I can count. It was priceless. Yeah, I rode in the rain, rode everything, but it was my transportation. I would ride 10 miles out to my buddy's house so then we can go for a ride. Yeah. And then it was 10 miles back home on country roads. And since I was more upstate New York. And
what's cool about this is they're trying not to make it about racing. I mean, unfortunately, it always comes back to racing, but this NICA organization is just a little different, as in that it's just not hardcore racing. It's almost more about getting together with a team, learning that team part for kids who couldn't do other team sports. So it's bringing the team part. It's scored like cross country.
Oh, neat.
where there's
really?
still an
Okay.
individual winner. There's still first, second, third place, but you also score team points. So your team can win
So
the
everybody
could win the
scores
event.
points.
So
Yeah,
everybody's
you
kind of scores points.
contributing
That's
to
right.
the win.
So everybody's kind of
Oh, that's
contributing to the win. We've kind of got like a big they call it pit zone. It's kind of a big hangout area where all the teams kind of come and put out like a big tents, sit under there at their chairs. The teams make lunch. So they're barbecuing and stuff out at the race.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's kind of different than, just, here we're just super focused to race.
Not a crit race.
Not a crit race. So there's a lot of kids out there that are racing, that are riding hard, that really want to be competitive. And then there's a whole other set of kids, that are just, they're having fun.
Yeah, I think you nailed it too. It's like cross country. I mean, my kids are in cross country the same way. You've got really, really fast runners that are going to do really well, and half the cross country team are just like, I just want to go run.
Yeah, right.
So,
I just want to be with my friends and
Kinda hang out.
crack fun jokes. And,
Cool. Anything else you got going on that we should know about? What do you got? What do you got coming up?
Man, I don't got too much coming up. I got ITU Triathlon Worlds coming up in oh, help me, it's right near Ukraine. It's next door. I'm a little nervous. Maybe I shouldn't be.
When is that?
It's in June.
And so you wrench for the ITU, right? So
Yeah, so that's coming up, and then Abu Dhabi in the fall.
wow.
For World Championships there. So that's kind of my travel schedule for doing fun stuff. We got 5 races to put on for mountain bike in the winter, and then trying to figure out some other like events to start doing. We want to start doing some events like some gravel triathlon or
Cool.
kind
I think you're going to get a
like
lot
that.
of positive response if you do that.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we got to find the right venue and stuff.
Yeah.
So
There's a really great triathlon community here in Middle Tennessee that I've been discovering since I got here, and it's pretty cool. It's quiet.
yeah, right.
It's quiet, but it's simmering. It's all there. I think finding a few
right.
more events like the gravel tri stuff will
Yeah,
get
absolutely.
people
Yeah. It's just
jumping out
different.
pretty good. It's
Yeah.
different and it's adventurous,
Mm-hmm.
and
And it makes
it'll be
perfect
fun.
sense, like you said.
Yeah.
You can get a bike that's not specialized to, because everyone freaks out when it comes to like triathlons, right? Oh, I need a tri bike, or I need clamp-ons on my road bike, and where you can just come out with your gravel bike, and it's the same one you use to commute. It's the same one you're using to go have fun with. You can race with it too. So that's
Or your
that
10
would
10-year-old
open it
mountain
up
bike.
quite a bit.
Or your 10-year-old mountain bike. Yeah, throw some flat pedals on it. and
There you go.
You have a faster transition.
There you go. 35 pounds you're hurling. down.
Kind of jumping out on that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, cool. Well, great. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Really appreciate you stopping by, and we'll have to have you back on and talk more cycling, more bikes and stuff, and tech and gear and all that, because we love it. We love talking about that. So thank you, everybody, for listening and watching on our YouTube channel. Give us 5 stars, thumbs up, all that good stuff. It helps the algorithms, helps more people find our lovely podcast that we're into year 2 on. I think this is episode 20 or 21. I think so. So we've been having a lot of fun with this. We're doing really great. So we appreciate everybody. Any of the comments and anything, just reach out to us. We appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next one.